Each year, participants from around the globe converge on the small town of Kanab, Utah, to take part in the Grand to Grand Ultra, a 170-mile journey starting at the rim of the Grand Canyon and ending at the Grand Staircase. They'll run through mountain ranges, scale cliff faces, and traverse miles of high desert to test their fortitude and determination. Living on only what they can carry on their back, their goal is to survive the Grand to Grand Ultra. Day 2 meets our competitors on a dangerous course. They will have to make the climb to an elevation of 7,100 feet, a 1,400-foot increase. Then make the treacherous descent to 4,900 feet. One tumble or slip could spell disaster for the racers.
Well, walking, I did a lot of walking. It was straight uphill, over a mountain, an insane mountain. I'm not a hiker. If one thing I could go back and change for training is do a lot more hiking. I mean, hiking's technical. I get on the street and I run straight. This is not getting on the street and running straight. I had no idea what I was in store for. This isn't the hardest race I've ever done. It is the hardest thing I've ever done, by far. It's the hardest race, the hardest thing. It is so mental, and I don't know how I'm still standing here, and tomorrow is so daunting.
Mickey continues to push for the lead.
It's been very challenging today, especially the first part. We had some technical climbs, ups and downs. It was that's what I like. Fun trails, very steep. And I was out with the Arab guy, Mo, and we were going pretty steady. We're attacking, but I was trying not to overexert myself. That's just the plan, pretty much from the beginning. Try to go as fast as you can, without, again, not overexerting, because we still have a long week ahead.
Mickey fills up his bottles, gets a few refreshing squirts on his face before returning to the heat of the race.
My feet are paying the price for today. It was beautiful. Once you got to the top of that mountain, there wasn't enough money to pay for a view like that. But it was a lot of very steep climbing and descending. It tore up, I think, most of the competitors. I know it did me.
Day 2 was hot as a motherfucker. It was hot. It was a huge climb in the beginning, and then it rolling, and then it was all that climbing was straight down, and that downhill, my knees were killing me. So uphill, your muscles, you're just breathing hard, especially with the altitude out here. We probably capped 6,000 feet today. So that uphill, you're sucking wind and in the sun. And then downhill, you've got weight on your back, and you're trying not to turn an ankle, and everything's sliding underneath you and you're hopping rock to rock. But you're trying to place your feet when you're going downhill, so to minimize the impact on your ankles and knees. One, you don't want to turn an ankle, you don't want to jump on something that's loose, and then you end up on your backside sliding down and break a tailbone. So you're really trying to think about every step you take, but the slower you go, the more it hurts. So it's like you got to find that happy medium of, you can't go head down and run, but you've got to find a happy medium of speed versus not so slow that you're just in constant pain. Today I planned on running the flats and the downhills and just being a little bit slower overall because tomorrow's 54 miles, and it worked out pretty good. I finished 2 hours ahead of where I finished last year on the same stage. The highs were probably finishing that big hill today, and because then once you're on top, you know you're on top, and then it's just some minor hill climbs after that. The low was hitting the last 10 miles in the baking sun completely flat. You could sweat, but it was so hot and so windy that you never felt like you were sweating. It was just drying it that fast. And by the time I finished, I felt like a dry sponge. It just, I wasn't passing out, but I just felt uncomfortable.
Despite the heat and the hardships, the racers are captivated by the beauty around them.
So it's day 2 of the race today. It was really hot. My God, really hot. I'm not used to this type of heat. The first part was amazing. Really, really nice trail, but the first climb, really, really difficult. But the view when you turned around back over was beautiful. And then it was really, really fast. When you got down to the bottom, like to checkpoint 3, it was really fast, but there wasn't much speed out of me today. This is my first ever multi-stage race, but I've picked up an Australian guy called Gary. I met him at the airport, and like yesterday after checkpoint 2, we walked together, and we spent the whole day together today. And we sort of push each other. It's not, I know we're walking, but we are properly power walking. Being paired up with another racer is probably actually a really good thing. So Gary knows that I like being out in front psychologically, so I'm pushing, and actually he said to me today I was going faster because I was in front. But now I don't think I have to slow down. And if he needs to slow down or stop, then we'll stop together, because it's not about, winning, it's about having a good time. So.
Molly, driven by sheer will, continues to gain distance on the other runners. Her only focus now is catching up to the ones ahead of her.
I'm feeling really good about it. I mean, it definitely helps the ego. Like today I knew I wouldn't get in the top, 4 again. I am still in the top 10. I don't know exactly where I placed, and everybody is shocked when they hear that I've never done an ultra and I've never trail run. So that's kind of exciting. On Saturday, when I finish, if I finish, I hope to finish, I will be celebrating my 30th birthday. So I always want to do something crazy and extreme for my 30th. I don't think I could find anything else more extreme and crazy than this. When I get to Vegas, first thing I'm definitely gonna have a bunch of pizza, definitely getting a nice large margarita or something sweet, fun, fruity drink.
Competitors are feeling the edge. Faced with a near vertical technical climb, competitors start to question themselves and their ability to finish the race.
You disqualify. Are you serious?
If you don't make
You can still keep going on. They'll let you keep running. But they're not going to give you a medal. That's all. All right, troopers, we'll see you tomorrow. See you later, guys. You already finished and came back, or what? Yeah. Hi.
Good job. What'd you do?
You right?
Did you win?
No, I got lost and I for like 40 minutes. Got back here and then took a 5-minute break, which turned into like an hour break. And I decided not to carry on. But I'm going to stick around and volunteer. It's okay. Well, why? You're so far ahead of me.
What's his name?
How are you doing? You alright?
Yeah.
No, I'm actually not injured. 110. I'm just tired.
Mo Fustak, one of the top ultra marathoners in the world, had lost his way on the course. Discouraged by a wrong turn on the course, the Grand to Grand claims another competitor. Mo, while no longer in the race, hangs around the checkpoints and continues to give his fellow athletes encouragement and positive reinforcement.
When you run long distances, especially in this beautiful environment, connecting with nature, I know it sounds a little, new age, but it's, that's really what I enjoy, try to connect with the environment and get your mind off of the grinding and enjoying the journey, basically. Last month I ran the Angeles Crest, which is one of the toughest 100 miles in the country, and that has 24,000 feet of elevation change over 100 miles, and you do it in one day. So that was a grind, I was able to. I'm lucky and happy I was able to bounce back and be able to be competitive out here.
Highs were the views. I mean, you can't beat the views here. It's just absolutely breathtaking, and you don't see that until you're up on top of a mountain like that. Lows were just my mind telling myself that I can't continue and I just have to work through that, and I just give myself 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a little cry, and get refocused and carry on. I've cried every day thus far, but it's okay. It's a part of the journey.
So tomorrow is the long stage, 54 miles. It's a long way. Most humans aren't made to go that far. So what you've really got to think about is you got to tackle your hydration and your nutrition from the start. I mean, before you start, your breakfast has got to be tuned up for that. Because if you get in a deficit, you're in a deficit. There's no getting out of it unless you stop and regroup and take time to do that.
Travis has picked up 2 hours for this stage. Against his time for last year, and tomorrow's 54 miles don't appear so intimidating. The rookies are not so lucky. But focusing on proper technique, they may learn what is meant by pushing limits.